Hello, welcome to part 7. In the last part, we learned about rational numbers, and in this part, we're going to talk about how to do the 4 operations with rational numbers. When we're doing addition, we need to check one thing, which is the denominator. If both of the denominators are equal to each other, then we just perform the addition, which I'll show you. But if they're not equal, we're supposed to make the denominators equal to each other and then perform the addition. So in this question, which is a very simple one, the denominators are equal. So we're just going to write that as it is, and we're going to do the addition on the numerator part, which is the top part. 2 plus 5, which is 7 over 8. That's it. Here is another question where we have addition and subtraction. They're both the same, the rule is the same. You get the same denominator and you perform the addition and the subtraction. We learned about order of operation in the previous parts. And addition and subtraction, you start from left, but it doesn't matter which one you do first. You can do all of them at the same time too. Let's decide how to get to the common denominator. Now, both 3, 4, and 6, we're trying to find what number we can multiply to get them to the same number, which is actually just finding the least common multiply, and we're gonna learn about that in the future episodes. But for now, we can just think of as 3 and 4 and 6. We can actually get all of them to 12, right? This can become 12, this can become 12, this can become 12. You just need to multiply this with 4. 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 3 is 12, and 6 times 2 is also 12. So let's do that. The common denominator will be 12. We can just write that. And then we're going to do our multiplication here. We're going to multiply this with 4, this with 3, and this with 2. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8, plus, we have plus here, 3 times 3 is 9, minus, we have minus here, and 2 times 1 is 2, this equals 2, 17 minus 2 is 15, over 12. But we're not exactly done yet. Usually the teachers will ask you to simplify this because you can. And we can actually divide both of them with 3, right? 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So we can just simplify and say 5 over 4 is the final answer. Okay, now let's solve a question where we have a integer and a fraction number. So let's just write 5, and then we have plus 2 over 3. You know that we actually have a 1 here, right? So you can do the same thing. Now we're just going to make the denominators equal to each other. You can multiply this with 3. And now the common denominator would be 3. We'd get 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2. And the final answer is 17 over 3. Okay, here is another example. We have 23 and 1 over 4 plus 13 and 1 over 4. So we can write that as 23 plus 1 over 4, right? And then plus 13 plus 1 over 4, because this is the same thing as this, right? Now, let's make it easier and just combine the integers and the fraction numbers, and then we can do the rest. So 23 plus 13 is 36, plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4. The denominator is the same, so we're just going to write that, and 1 plus 1 is 2. We can actually further simplify this to, we can divide by 2, which gives us 1 over 2. And we get 36 plus 1 over 2, which actually you can write it as 36 and 1/2. And then from yesterday we can convert that into an improper fraction. We're just going to do 2 times 36 and then we're going to add the 1. So that's 2 times 36 is 72 plus 1 is 73 over 2. This is our final answer. Now let's learn about how to multiply and divide with rational numbers. So, when you're doing multiplication, all you do is multiply the numerators and write it into the numerator section, and multiply the denominator and write that into the denominator. So, this would basically be 5 times 7 and 6 times 2. 5 times 7 is 35. And 6 times 2 is 12. That's our answer. Okay, let's now learn how to do division. Now, when we're doing division, we're going to write the first rational number as it is, and then we're going to flip the second one, and then just do multiplication. So, let me show you how. We're going to write the first one, which is 3 over 4, and then we're going to do multiplication and flip the second one, which is 9 over 5. And now we can just do our multiplication. 3 times 9, and then 4 times 5, which gets us 27 over 20. That's our final answer. Okay, here's another example. You can see division like this as well, but don't worry about it. It's just the same thing. This thing is just the same thing as saying 3 over 4 divided by 1 over 2. You can write it this way if you find it easier, or you could do it by just looking at this. And now we're going to do the same thing. Keep the first one, and then do multiplication, and then flip the second one, which is 2 over 1. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 1 is 4. You can further simplify this by dividing both of them by 2. This gives you 3, this gives you 2, and the final answer is 3 over 2. Okay, now let's solve this example. Let's just rewrite this. 2 over 3 times, we have 1 over 2, plus 3 over 4, plus 1 over 6. But we have division here. We can actually just write that as multiply and then flip, right? To over 1. I see some simplifications we can make this to make our lives easier. So let's just divide these two with each other, and we're going to get 1 here and then 3 there. We can also divide these by 2. We're going to have 1 here and then 2 here. Oh, my bad. 3 here. And then we can just write that as we have 1 and 3 because these are both 1s. So 1 over 3 plus 3 over 4, and then we have plus 1 over 3. We can actually, we need to find a common denominator to do these additions. We can make the common denominator 12 by just multiplying this with 4, this with 3, and this one with 4. So let's do that. We will have 12 as a common denominator. We'll have 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 1 is 4. 12, and 4 plus 9 is 13, plus 4 is 17, and 17 over 12 is our final answer. Okay, here is another example that we can solve. Here we have a very long operations to perform. We know from the order of operations PEMDAS that we need to perform divisions first, and then we're going to do this subtraction last. To make it easier for us, we can just tackle this division first, these ones, the ladder-like divisions. So let's do that. Let's just write 3 and then divided let's just write this as 3, and then we can do multiply and flip the second one, which is 4, or 4 over 1, right? And then let's write the next, minus 1 over 3, just write the first one, and then we're going to do multiply and flip the second one, which is 1 over 2, because we have a 1 here. Divide by 2. Okay. Next, we can do 3 times 4 is 12, so it's 3 divided by 12. We have minus still. We have 1 when we're multiplying. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Divided by 2. Now let's continue. 3 divided by 12, we can just write it as 3 over 12. It's the same thing. Minus, we have the first one, 1 over 6, and the second one, multiply and flip the second one, which is 1 over 2. 3 over 12 minus 1 times 1 is 1, 6 times 2 is 12. And now we're doing the subtraction. We have common denominator, which is 12, write that down, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. We can further simplify this, divide both of them by 2, we get 1 here, and then 6 there, and our final answer is 1 over 6.